Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls on President Draupadi Murmu and resigns. The President dissolves Parliament's lower house, asks the PM to continue till the new government is formed. India leaders meet in Delhi and choose Prime Minister Modi as their leader, says he has clear vision for a developed India. NDA Alliance also gets together in the national capital to chart the future course of action. US President Joe Biden is in Paris to mark the 80th D-Day anniversary. The aim is to also strengthen ties with allies facing challenges on multiple fronts. And government formation in South Africa remains in limbo. Second largest party, Democratic Alliance, says it won't be part of a national unity government if it includes rivals like MK, EFF and Patriotic Alliance. Also in cricket, Indian bowlers leave Ireland reeling in their opening encounter in ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 at New York. Day after India's national election results, the ruling National Democratic Alliance or NDA convened a crucial meeting at Prime Minister's residence in New Delhi, led by Narendra Modi. Now, this has paved the way for Narendra Modi's third consecutive term as Prime Minister. Meanwhile, in the opposition camp, the INDI Alliance or the India Bloc has held a strategic meeting in New Delhi as well. Key leaders, including the Congress President, deliberated upon their future course of action, ultimately having to sit in opposition.
The ruling National Democratic Alliance (NDA) held a crucial meeting at the Prime Minister's residence in New Delhi under the leadership of Narendra Modi. TDP Chief Chandrababu Naidu and JDU Chief Nitish Kumar were among the key NDA leaders who attended the meet. The ruling NDA secured a majority in the Lok Sabha elections on Tuesday. NDA bloc members shown confidence in Narendra Modi as their leader in the lower house of Indian Parliament. In the meeting, all leaders congratulated Prime Minister for his leadership and achievements. They appreciated Prime Minister's hard working and efforts in nation building. NDA partners said that the PM has a clear vision for Viksit Bharat and they are partners in this goal. They lauded the PM's role in increasing India's pride in the world. NDA leaders lauded PM's efforts towards poverty eradication and pledged to continue the good work. PM said this was a historic mandate for third consecutive government which was last received in India 60 years back. Earlier in the day, PM Modi held a cabinet meeting with the outgoing ministers. He thanked his ministers for their hard work and dedication. A day after securing a thumping majority for the NDA, Prime Minister Narendra Modi handed in his resignation to President Draupadi Murmu, which was accepted. The President asked him to remain caretaker Prime Minister until the new government is formed. This step led to the dissolution of the 17th Lok Sabha, the lower house of the Indian Parliament. On the other hand, the opposition INDI bloc, which secured 234 parliamentary seats, held a meeting at the residence of Congress President in New Delhi to discuss the future course of action for the alliance. Syed Afsarul Hassan reporting for DD India.
And following the Congress-led alliance's meeting in New Delhi, India's main opposition party, the Congress itself and its President Mallikarjun Kharge, said that the mandate given to his bloc is to safeguard the Constitution and they will continue to fight for that cause.
This is a mandate in defense of the Constitution of India and against price rise, unemployment and crony capitalism, and also to save democracy.
Now, in India's constitutional democracy, there are provisions and processes in place to ensure that there is a peaceful transition of power after the nation has voted. Prime Minister Modi called on President Draupadi Murmu on Wednesday to put in his papers so that the ball could be set rolling on putting a new government in place and convening the Indian Parliament's 18th lower house.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi calling on President Draupadi Murmu to submit the resignation of his Council of Ministers and the meeting of his cabinet to advise the President to dissolve India's 17th lower house set in motion process of peaceful transition of power in India. Prime Minister Modi will have caretaker status till a new government is formed. The term of the 17th Lok Sabha is till the 16th of June and the new government has to be formed by that time. India has a constitutional mechanism in place for a peaceful transition of power. The President has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Article 85(2)(b) of India's constitution gives the President power. Dissolution means the end of the life of Lok Sabha. Dissolution can also happen on its own at the end of 5 years of the first meeting of the House. Dissolution ends the respective character of all members of the House. The focus now shifts to the formation of the next government. The BJP-led NDA's leaders met on Wednesday evening and unanimously decided to make caretaker Prime Minister Modi as their leader. Letters of support of all NDA constituents were also handed over to BJP President JP Nadda for PM to call on the President and stake claim to form the new government. Bureau Report, DD India.
Let's get you more on this. We're joined by two of my colleagues, Kriti Vadera joining us on the subject of the NDA meeting, and we're also joined by Siddharth Bhardwaj. The INDI Alliance, or the Congress-led alliance's meeting has just gone over. First, let me come to you, Siddharth. The NDA has chosen Prime Minister Modi as their leader, which has cleared the way for him to stake claim to form the next government. Now, what's the Congress-led alliance's meeting has been all about? They've said that they will continue to safeguard the opposition, which means that they'll sit in the opposition. But have they also looked at ways how they can still prevent Prime Minister Modi's return to his post, and that doesn't seem to be working out at the moment?
Well, definitely. A very good evening to you, first of all, Gautam. And we just saw around half an hour back, 30 minutes back, the INDI Alliance held a meeting inside Congress President's residence, Mallikarjun Kharge's residence, where they as far as the sources are telling us, they chalked out the plan for future course of action. However, to form the government seems like a distant dream for INDI Alliance, because it was speculations were earlier that they might have a word with the TDP or they might have a word with JDU, but then they have tendered their support and the NDA stands strong. So that seems like a distant dream. However, yesterday, if I talk about the environment inside the Congress headquarters, I was there and people were happy because Congress doubled their lead from 52 in 2019 to 99. But that still seems, that's still a very far away when it comes to the magic number, which is 272. In fact, if you, take in consideration the entire INDI Alliance, then it's 234. That's also, way far behind of the magic number, which is 272. So yes, forming the government is like distant dream as of now, as far as the INDI bloc is concerned. But as far as the meeting is concerned, you've also mentioned Mallikarjun Kharge came out and he said that this mandate is to is in defense of the Constitution of India and also to save democracy. This is what he said. However, the meeting was attended by several leaders. The meeting was attended by Sonia Gandhi, meeting was attended by Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Also, opposition leader Sharad Pawar, Akhilesh Yadav. These are some of the leaders who were there. When the meeting was happening inside Mallikarjun Kharge's residence. But a clear picture is yet to be out, because whatever Mallikarjun Kharge said, a clear picture couldn't be drawn out of what he said. So it is yet to be yet to be told what's actually the plan. But as far as we know that the meeting is all about the future course of action. The meeting is all about holding the allies who supported them in the general elections 2024.
Yes, let me also bring in Kriti Vadera at this point to talk about what happened with the NDA's meeting. And Kriti, it was pretty clear in terms of how things went there, and things moved along pretty smoothly in terms of how a transition is to be made from one sort of NDA alliance that was in power earlier to another one, slightly different picture there, but as far as Prime Minister Modi is concerned, a total faith in his leadership, the way that he has secured a third term for the NDA alliance after, this is something that's happening after 60 years.
Well, good evening, Gautam. And yes, of course, throughout the day we have witnessed that these supremos, the leaders of these coalition parties were reaching Delhi with a greater affirmation of forming the government as PM, addressing PM Modi as the leader of this coalition government, as the of this main alliance of NDA. And yes, the gestures which we have seen of these leaders out of today's meeting of first meeting of NDA coalition group was fabulous, was magnificent. The kind of gestures they have portrayed and the way they have applauded PM's efforts in and taking, the stand PM has taken in becoming the nation's pride and giving India an international exposure. So all such reactions were given by the leaders of this coalition government of the alliance who happen to be in Delhi, and yes, they are looking further for the development of this coalition government of NDA.
Right. So we also know that Prime Minister Modi also went in the evening after the NDA alliance's meeting to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Now, what has that trip been about, that visit been about, and when can we expect Prime Minister Modi to effectively and officially stake claim to form the government, and when can we expect the swearing in and the convening of the new Lok Sabha as well?
Well, when it comes to the evening meeting, yes, 7:45 was the time given by the president for accepting the formal, papers of the coalition support of the groups, the parties which have supported NDA, specifically accepting PM Modi as the leader of the alliance. So that has been done here, and the farewell dinner for the Council of Ministers is being hosted by President here in New Delhi today. And when it comes to the formation of the government, the next meeting of NDA coalition will be on 7th of June in morning, in first half, to take the further actions for the development of this government. And till 16th, as it is said that there is an official time till 16th of June for this 17th Lok Sabha to be officially dissolved. So till then, NDA has time to figure out the needs of the alliances, what they are seeking. Specifically, if I talk about the alliance and what they're seeking from BJP being the majority, the biggest party. So, and to reminding you here that these alliances are coming from regional politics. They come from the different regions of the nation. They have their own demands, and which they likely BJP would be, in a safe position to fulfill all of them. They want greater representation in government and big portfolios. This is what they are seeking from BJP.
All right. Your audio is getting a bit breezy there, Kriti. Let me quickly go to Siddharth as well. Siddharth, as far as the Congress-led alliance is concerned, are they completely unanimous that they will sit in the opposition? Because that's the kind of stand that Mallikarjun Kharge put forth. But have there been kind of different voices as well who feel that there could be a room for them to do something that could perhaps put them with some sort of a chance to also form their own government?
Well, Gautam, as far as the analysis says, as far as the ground report says, as far as the reports from the media, from all the media say, it's very unlikely that they might form a government. However, there could be chances, but then, like I said, I was mentioning before that the INDI Alliance, they won 234. The majority is still short of the magic number, which is 272. They did well as compared to 2019, and this time around as well, the talks were going on that they might form the government, but right now it's not possible because they were perhaps banking on the TDP and they were banking perhaps on JDU, who tendered the support to the NDA, and NDA now stands still, and it's very likely that it will form a government. But as far as the INDI Alliance is concerned, and today's meeting is concerned, that it was all about to chalk out the future course of action of the party, because the party comparatively did well from 2019. Malika
so their next moves perhaps depend on what will be the moves of the NDA, its individual and collective strength. They will be assessing that, and then perhaps they'll move forward. Thank you for joining us, both Siddharth as well as Kriti Vadhera. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Top UN official Martin Griffiths laments the lack of dialogue to resolve conflict. The Slovenian parliament votes to approve proposal to recognize Palestine's statehood. And banknotes featuring a portrait of King Charles enter circulation in the United Kingdom.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, after recording a resounding victory in India's recently concluded general elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party has made significant inroads into new regions as well. DD India's Mehir Makuri reports on the areas or the regions where the BJP has made its presence felt.
In 1980, a political party emerged in India, and since then, the Bharatiya Janata Party has come a long way. The BJP has significantly expanded its footprint across the length and breadth of the country in a very short span of time. June 4 also marked another historic moment when the BJP marked its presence in new areas. The Bharatiya Janata Party-led NDA's crossing of the majority mark was propelled by its performance in states such as Telangana and Odisha. In a remarkable feat, out of Odisha's 21 Lok Sabha seats, the Bharatiya Janata Party secured an overwhelming victory, winning 20 seats. The BJP's tally in Odisha for the 2024 elections saw a significant rise from the mere 8 Lok Sabha seats it had won in 2019. In Telangana, the Bharatiya Janata Party won 8 seats out of 17 seats as compared to 4 in 2019. Lotus also bloomed for the first time in Kerala, South India. BJP's Suresh Gopi clinched victory in Thrissur, surpassing both UDF and LDF candidates by an impressive margin of over 74,000 votes. BJP's Bishnu Padare bagged 1 seat in the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar. In Andhra Pradesh, BJP, which contested in alliance with TDP and Jana Sena, was successful in making Lotus bloom on 3 seats. Now let's take a look at BJP's MPs from new regions. The Bharatiya Janata Party celebrated its inaugural triumph in Kerala as actor Suresh Gopi emerged victorious from Thrissur Lok Sabha seat. Suresh Gopi has worked in more than 250 films. In Telangana's Malkajgiri, BJP's Etala Rajendra won by a margin of 380,000 votes. BJP's Kishan Reddy won by a margin of 52,000 votes in Telangana's Secunderabad. In Karimnagar, Bharatiya Janata Party's National General Secretary Bandi Sanjay defeated his nearest rival Vinod Kumar by a margin of 200,000 votes. In Odisha, the Biju Janata Dal, which has governed the state since 1997, lost to the BJP, breaking Naveen Patnaik's long-standing reign as Chief Minister. The Bharatiya Janata Party won 78 seats in the 147-seat assembly. And in the Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly elections, BJP emerged victorious on 8 seats. Mihir Makri's report for DD India.
And more than 50 world leaders have congratulated Prime Minister Modi following his historic third-term win on Tuesday. Leaders from India's neighbourhood and extended neighbourhood as well sent congratulatory messages. US President Joe Biden congratulated India's caretaker Prime Minister Narendra Modi on securing the third term as the PM. In a post on microblogging site X, President Biden said, and I quote, "Congratulations to Prime Minister Modi and the National Democratic Alliance on their victory and the nearly 650 million voters in this historic election. The friendship between our nations is only growing as we unlock a shared future of unlimited potential." French President Emmanuel Macron also congratulated Prime Minister Modi. In a post on X, President Macron said, and I quote again, "India has concluded the world's largest elections. Congratulations, Narendra Modi, my dear friend. Together, we'll continue strengthening the strategic partnership that unites India and France," unquote. And the Prime Minister of UK, Rishi Sunak, also congratulated Prime Minister Modi on his electoral success. Again, in a post on X, Rishi Sunak said, and I quote again, "Today I spoke to Narendra Modi to congratulate him on his election victory. The UK and India share the closest of friendships, and together that friendship will continue to thrive." And here's a report on other world leaders also congratulating Prime Minister Modi on his election success.
Tuesday's victory solidified Narendra Modi's status as the first leader since India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru to secure a third consecutive 5-year term, marking a significant milestone in India's political history and also the country's first Prime Minister to do so in more than 60 years. His party, the BJP, is still by far the largest party in Parliament and in a position to form the next government along with its NDA allies. The NDA appears poised to establish a government with congratulatory messages streaming in from numerous international leaders, underscoring the global recognition of their victory. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni extended her wishes and said that the two nations will consolidate cooperation on various issues for the well-being of people. China congratulated Prime Minister Modi on his re-election. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said, "A healthy and stable China-India relations is in the interest of both countries." Bhutan's Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay sent his wishes and said he was looking forward to deepening ties with India. Mohamed Muizzu, the President of Maldives, congratulated the Prime Minister and said that he is looking forward to work together to advance the shared interests in pursuit of prosperity and stability for the two countries. Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Nepalese Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal Prachand and Mauritian Prime Minister Praveen Jugnauth extended their wishes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the victory. They expressed their desire to work closely with him. India successfully concluded the world's biggest election held in 7 phases over 6 weeks with almost 1 billion people registered to vote. Bureau Report, DD India.
And Bangladesh Foreign Minister Hassan Mahmood on Wednesday also congratulated the BJP-led NDA for winning the recently concluded Lok Sabha elections in India. He also congratulated the people of India for exercising their democratic rights in the elections. The Foreign Minister also congratulated the Congress-led NDI Alliance for their election. Now, US President Joe Biden has arrived in France on Wednesday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. This trip is designed to underscore Biden's commitment to US allies in Europe and contrasting with political opponent Donald Trump. Joe Biden is on a 5-day visit to France that will include D-Day celebrations in Normandy, as well as a high-profile speech and a formal state visit with French President Macron. The St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, that's the SPIEF, Russia's biggest economic forum of the year, opened on Wednesday. The forum will run till the 8th of June, featuring guests from over 110 countries, including Governor of Leningrad region Alexander Beglov. Theme of the forum is the formation of new centers of growth as the cornerstone of a multipolar world. President Putin is expected to attend the forum's panel. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has visited the country's northern border with Lebanon on Wednesday and said that Israel is prepared for strong action in the north. Israeli towns near the border have been a frequent target of rocket and drone launches from Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. The rockets set off massive wildfires this week, burning parts of land across northern Israel. Hezbollah and Israel have been exchanging fire for the past 8 months in parallel with the Gaza war. The Slovenian parliament on Tuesday voted to approve the proposal of recognizing the statehood of Palestine. The legislative body said this move would hopefully help stop the violence in Gaza. 52 members out of 90 seats voted for the recognition of Palestine, and it has become the fourth European country after Spain, Norway and Ireland in recent weeks to make this decision. The Palestinian flag was also hoisted outside the Slovenian parliament in the country's capital. UNA Chief Martin Griffiths held his last news conference in New York as Emergency Relief Coordinator at UN headquarters and lamented the current state of diplomacy around the world. He also raised concerns about drastic conditions of millions of people caught up in war and famine.
The limits of our attention are to these big crises: Gaza, Sudan, Ukraine, whereas Syria, Yemen, Haiti are places still of great suffering. As much as anything else, people need hope. If they are to survive, if they are to be resilient, they need hope. And as I've referred today to the horizon of hope that's needed for the people of Gaza, and it's needed for the people of Palestine.
Britain's King Charles and Prince William on Wednesday attended a D-Day national commemoration event in Portsmouth in the UK. King Charles highlighted the privilege he felt in hearing stories of courage, resilience and solidarity from the Second World War.
Those who gathered here in Portsmouth would never forget the sight. It was by far the largest military fleet the world has ever known. Yet all knew that both victory and failure were possible, and none could know their fate.
Prince William said he was deeply honored to be joined by guests who'd helped fight against tyranny.
I am deeply honored to join you today to recognize the bravery of all of those like John Haddock who participated in the D-Day landings, the start of the liberation of France and Europe that led to victory of the Allied powers. Our guests of honor today are those veterans from the Normandy landing that came from across our nation and from all walks of life to join in the fight against tyranny. Many of those that took up arms had never seen combat before. Some were still only in their teens.
Britain's Princess Anne attended an unveiling ceremony of a statue in Normandy, France on Wednesday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Accompanied by her husband, the royal princess inspected and interacted with soldiers before the unveiling. D-Day began in full on the 6th of June 1944 and was the assault phase of the Allied invasion of mainland Europe, which marked a decisive stage in the liberation of Europe from German forces in the Second World War. Nearly 2 years after King Charles succeeded the late Queen Elizabeth as head of state, banknotes featuring a portrait of King Charles have entered circulation in Britain Wednesday onwards. Charles's image will appear on the new notes of 5, 10, 20 and 50 pounds issued by the Bank of England. Existing notes featuring Elizabeth will continue to circulate. Queen Elizabeth was the first monarch to feature on British banknotes, in contrast to coins in England, which have carried images of kings and queens for more than 1,000 years. And let's now take a look at some of the other updates coming in from around the world as well. A gunman fired shots at the US Embassy in Lebanon on Wednesday and was wounded in an exchange of fire with troops. The army said the attacker is a Syrian national and he was detained, taken to a hospital for treatment. Soldiers were also searching through the area for other gunmen. Maldivian Foreign Affairs Minister Musa Zamir and his Sri Lankan counterpart MUM Ali Sabri addressed the media, emphasizing the robust relationship between their countries. Zamir is on a 3-day visit to Sri Lanka, during which he is scheduled to pay courtesy calls on President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardene. A group of veterinarians from different countries embarked on a week-long mission to offer dental care and other medical examinations for bears and a lion which were rescued in Kosovo over the last decade. West from Germany and Denmark first checked the lion, Jorn, before continuing with the bears. With a resolution above 3.2 gigapixel, a nearly 3-ton weight and ambitious task of carrying out an unprecedented decade-long exploration, the largest digital camera ever built for optical astronomy is ready to be installed under the clear skies of northern Chile. The goal of the exploration will be to understand the nature of dark energy and dark matter in the universe. And still to come on DD India News Hour, we'll be talking with our special guests about the latest political developments of the government formation in India and the kind of reactions it has brought forth from international leaders. UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, leader of the opposition, clash in a heated debate over the UK elections. And Dutch leader Geert Wilders' campaign in The Hague ahead of the EU elections. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy, and before we go any further, another look at our top stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls on President Draupadi Murmu and resigns. President dissolves Parliament's lower house, asks the PM to continue till the new government is formed. NDA leaders meet in Delhi and choose Prime Minister Modi as their leader. Say he has clear vision for a developed India. The Congress-led alliance also gets together in the national capital to chart the future course of action. And let's now talk about what's really happening as far as government formation is concerned, and the fact that although we have the NDA saying that Prime Minister Modi is their leader and that gives him the authority or the right to stake claim to form the next government because the NDA taken together has more than a majority of the seats in India's parliament, the future parliament that will be convened shortly by President Murmu as well. International leaders have also been reacting and hailing the democratic process that is taking place in India and congratulating Prime Minister Modi for the kind of mandate that he's got, which has ensured that he will be ascending to the Prime Minister's chair once again for a third time in a row, which is going to be a record in 60 years that it is happening again. And let's now bring in our guests as well to talk about this. We've got Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, joining us from Delhi, and we have Ambassador Sanjay Bhattacharya as well, former Secretary MEA, again joining us from the national capital. Good evening to you both. First, let's talk about the kind of international reactions that have come forth. Ambassador Bhattacharya, what do you make of how world leaders ranging from Joe Biden, we've had a phone conversation as well that Vladimir Putin has had with Prime Minister Modi, and so many others, even the Chinese government spokesperson has commented about the kind of mandate India has delivered in favor of Prime Minister Modi and the NDA.
Well, as you know, The elections were a very strong expression of democracy in our country, and it received appreciation and applaud across the globe in many, many capitals. At the same time, the results of the election were not exactly as they were anticipated by many of the world leaders. However, as soon as the results came, we saw that leaders from various countries, particularly from Israel, Ukraine, and Italy in the first instance, and of course from our neighborhood, from amongst our neighbors in Mauritius, who came and congratulated Prime Minister Modi for the victory of the NDA and for his third tenure as Prime Minister. This is an indication of two very strong trends. The first being that they've all shared a very strong personal rapport with Prime Minister Modi, which has helped build bilateral relations and taken it to new heights. The second indication that comes about is the fact that India has grown tremendously in recent years and has become a force to reckon with in global affairs, and therefore the continued support and cooperation in global issues, regional issues, is something that top leaders across the world will look forward to. So I think there is great expectation and anticipation that India's position will be further enhanced as the days go by under the leadership of the new government.
All right, I'll just ask you to wait a bit and let me bring in Shekhar here as well. Shekhar, while the world's been watching what's been happening as well at home, is something that the nation too has been watching and following very closely. Meetings of the NDA and the rival alliance that have taken place today that have made it clear that nothing really stands in the way of Prime Minister Modi ascending once again, although he's still Prime Minister in a caretaker capacity, once again to the post, a record third time that's happening after 60 years that Prime Minister Modi also mentioned in the NDA meeting today.
Indeed, there are no more doubts left as to the formation of the next government headed by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is a historic moment in the sense this is the third time he'll be taking oath of office as the Prime Minister, which is itself, I would say, after Jawaharlal Nehru, we haven't had a Prime Minister, after an election coming for a third time. And today the meeting under the auspices of the NDA saw several allies, including Chandrababu Naidu of the Telugu Desam party. Then you had Nitish Kumar of the Janata Dal United. You had Chirag Paswan of LJP and other leaders who have come, including Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde. All of them expressed support for the Prime Minister, his vision for Viksit Bharat and for India's pride of place among nations in the years to come. So the message is very clear, because there were a lot of speculation as to whether these allies like Janata Dal United or TDP would be exploring the feelers that are coming from the India Alliance led by Congress, whether there's something is going to happen, because we had reports about some India Alliance leaders getting in touch with Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar, but all the speculation has been put to rest with the resolution adopted at the NDA meeting, and subsequently it's clear that the Prime Minister Modi will be meeting President Draupadi Murmu on June 7th to stake claim. So the process has started for the installation of the next government. The INDI Alliance or the Opposition Alliance also had a meeting at the residence of the Sonia Gandhi. So we saw that all the leaders there they also adopted a resolution saying that they were happy with the performance of the opposition bloc as a whole. And then the most important part of that statement was, we will take appropriate steps at the appropriate time to realize people's desire not to be ruled by the BJP's government, which is a way of saying, look, we at the moment, the numbers are not with us. So we will wait for our time, we'll bide our time for because one thing is clear, Gautam, because all these speculation did not take into account the fact that BJP has got 240 members in the new house. So without this number, there cannot be a government. given the fact that 272 is the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Therefore, I think we are headed for a coalition era again, but a coalition with a strong principal party under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi.
Certainly. That is something that has been commented about as far as even the world press is concerned. But if I could come to you again, Mr. Bhattacharya, what do you make of how these leaders have also talked about taking relations, the kind of ties that they have with India further on, and saying that they have really had good relations with India under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, so they're looking for that continuity to be taken forward and moved further along as well on the path of progress and mutual prosperity.
Absolutely. India has grown enormously in the last few years. And this is a growth in which India needs the world and the world needs India. And Prime Minister Modi had made this very clear and explicit that he was prepared to not only work with the global community, provided guidance, and also take inspiration from many of the things that is happening. The kind of leadership that he exhibited at the G20 when we were in the chair was exemplary. And I think at the time when the world was going through a crisis, India led the way and paved the way for consensus. Today, again, we see that the world has many challenges that it faces. The trials of the war in Ukraine, in the Middle East, have not gone away. There are tensions in the South China Sea. At the same time, we also see that economic growth is something that has slowed down, particularly in the developed world. And India has emerged as not only the fastest growing economy, major economy, but also the fifth largest economy globally, which is soon going to become the third largest. So the role of India has increased enormously. Secondly, with the advent of technology, the kind of supply chains that the global community is looking for in this globalized world has also undergone a radical shift. And India is again at the center of that. The third feature that has happened is that the kind of development that has been experienced across the globe is something that has given rise to what we call the Global South. And India, as the voice of the Global South, has been able to engineer and bring this community together so that there is greater democracy. And this was realized not only in the G20, where we introduced the African Union, but also in larger multilateral and plurilateral bodies across the world. So there is a great sense of anticipation and hope, as I say, that India is going to continue on the track that it had of not only leading the charge so far as development and principles and values are concerned, but also that it would be a major factor in reviving the hope for the global community. And
yes,
therefore,
even the war front against climate change is something that India is a major constituent of. And today being World Environment Day, that's also something that perhaps the world leaders are looking at in terms of how they're reacting to what's happened as far as the Indian elections are concerned. Now, we've just got an update. India's Prime Minister Modi has met the National Democratic Alliance leaders as well. So these partners as well. And in a post on X, Prime Minister Modi has written, I quote, "Met our valued NDA partners. Ours is an alliance that will further national progress and fulfill regional aspirations. We'll serve the 140 crore people of India and work towards building a Viksit Bharat." So the emphasis, Shekhar, again is on building a developed country that Prime Minister Modi has set a target for 2047, and that is of course a lot of interest to all Indians, and it's of interest again to the entire world, isn't it? And that's what these world leaders are also then looking at very keenly and closely.
Definitely, Gautam. Prime Minister has been very clear about his objectives when it comes to what should be India's role in the global scene. And we saw in the last 5 years, particularly when the COVID struck the entire globe, how India rose to the occasion by way of, acting quickly to see that the vaccines which it had organized and produced was also, given to those countries which were needing such a kind of assistance. This was appreciated by several world leaders because India came to the aid of several countries. In fact, despite the fact that our mass immunization program, which was one of the largest in the world, was just taken off, but at the same time, we did not appear to be selfish. We showed what a caring country can do for the rest of the world. And we saw plane loads of vaccines being rushed to different parts of the world. So that is one good example of India's role. Similarly, in other situations, India has been taking part in major multilateral meets, particularly to resolve issues like Ukraine, and also to use its good offices for lessening tensions in West Asia. So you can see the Prime Minister's approach when it comes to handling global tensions and global affairs, and also the fact that the issue of climate change, which is a major problem now, which is concerning all the global leaders. Soon after swearing in, Prime Minister will get ready for the G7 summit, where all these issues are bound to come again. And with India set on a new course now for the next decade or so, India is aware of its role, it's aware of its responsibilities when it comes to matters like climate change, at the same time addressing the developing needs of its own people.
Certainly. And that is what the world is also looking at, is what we've been talking about, and that will be further set into motion once a new government is in place, and that is likely to take shape by the end of the weekend probably, and we'll be looking forward to that taking place as well. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about what we've seen happening today, both you, Ambassador, as well as Shekhar Iyer. Now, Dutch leader Geert Wilders has met his supporters at a market in The Hague on Wednesday, campaigning ahead of the EU elections. The EU Assembly election is scheduled to take place between the 6th and the 9th of June, and Dutch voters will be voting on Thursday. Wilders said that these historical elections are crucial for the future of Europe to have less asylum and immigration. Around 370 million people are eligible to vote across the 27 member states, choosing 720 lawmakers of the European Parliament. Welsh First Minister Vaughan Gething was set to face a confidence vote on Wednesday, with British media widely expecting the leader of the Welsh devolved government to lose. Gething, a Welsh Labour Party politician, was not expected to resign if he loses Wednesday's vote, which was called by the rival Conservatives. The Conservatives say Gething showed poor judgment in accepting a $200,000 donation to his party's leadership campaign from a firm owned by an individual convicted of environmental offences. The African National Congress is trying to form a South African government of national unity with a wide range of parties. African National Congress has been talking to 5 parties ranging from the Free Democratic Alliance to the EFF. However, government formation in South Africa remains in limbo, as the second largest party, Democratic Alliance, has said that it won't be part of a national unity government if it includes rivals like MK, EFF and Patriotic Alliance. And let's now take a look at some of the other updates coming in from within India. Now, the Indian Air Force helicopters have successfully rescued 3 survivors and transported the bodies of 5 trekkers out of the 15 individuals who were stranded in severe weather conditions while trekking to Sahasratal in Uttarkashi. In Uttarkashi, the challenging terrain and high altitude necessitated the use of 2 lightweight cheetah helicopters to transport them from higher ground to the base camp. 3 Sherpas and the mortal remains of 4 trekkers will be evacuated on Thursday. A symposium on inclusive and collaborative leadership in Mizoram was organized by the White Dot Solidarity Network in Lekha and the Center for Humanities and Social Sciences Research in Aizawl. The symposium is aimed at building a discourse on the need for diversity in leadership structures, be it in the academia, governance or social enterprises. India's Army Chief General Manoj Pandey visited the under-construction Thal Sena Bhavan building in Delhi to oversee its progress. General Pandey also inaugurated a state-of-the-art living barrack for troops in the Delhi cantonment. The Army Chief expressed satisfaction on both the projects. These endeavours underscore the Indian Army's unwavering resolve to modernize infrastructure, prioritize sustainability and improve the quality of life of its personnel. The Central Board of Secondary Education, that's the CBSE, has detected significant variation between theory and practical marks in certain subjects among 50% of students in over 500 schools and has advised them to review their internal assessment procedures on Wednesday. Schools have been advised to prioritize fairness and accuracy in assessing practical examinations and ensure the process is realistic and adds substantial value to students' academic journey. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India's National Stock Exchange creates history by registering highest ever transactions in a single day. On World Environment Day, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. That's a campaign to encourage citizens to plant more trees.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. South Korean government has fully suspended the 2018 Inter-Korean military agreement after 5 years and 8 months in response to North Korea's flying of trash-carrying balloons across the border. A cabinet meeting was held 2 days after the South Korean government warned of measures for North Korea. Cabinet members voted to suspend the entirety of the 2018 military pact that barred hostile actions between the two Koreas. South Korea warned that the suspension will continue until mutual trust between the two Koreas is restored. Making a new record, National Stock Exchange handled the highest ever number of transactions in a single day. The National Stock Exchange CEO Ashish Chauhan posted on X, the stock exchange created a world record on Wednesday in a 6 hour and 15 minutes period starting 9:15 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Single trading day handled 19.71 billion orders per day, 280.55 million trades per day. The NSE Nifty 50 index after Tuesday's red trade ended 3.4% higher at 22,620.35 points Wednesday. On World Environment Day, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi planted a sapling initiating the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam campaign, urging people in India and around the world to plant a tree as a tribute to their mothers. Take a look.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi today planted a sapling at Buddha Jayanti Park in New Delhi under Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam campaign organized on the occasion of World Environment Day. The campaign aims to be one of its kind mass movement to plant millions of trees across the country. Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav and Delhi Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena were also present with him.
एक पेड़ माँ के नाम, हम धरती को अपनी माँ मानते हैं, लेकिन हम सभी से ये आग्रह करते हैं और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का आह्वान है कि अपनी माँ के नाम पर या माँ को साथ खड़ा करके, अगर माँ का आशीर्वाद हमारे साथ है तो उनको खड़ा करके उनके साथ ये पेड़ लगाना है.
Delhi's Lieutenant Governor said the mission launched by the Prime Minister will prove to be a major step towards battling climate change.
The whole world is facing heat waves. Why? It's just because of cutting of trees, felling of trees. So we have to protect the trees. Today the Honorable Prime Minister has given a message. Now we have to take a movement in the country. In Delhi, we will launch a massive drive of plantation in the coming days.
World Environment Day is celebrated to raise awareness, promote action and encourage global cooperation on environmental issues. It's a global event led by the United Nations to encourage awareness and action to protect the environment. This day was initiated by the United Nations General Assembly in 1972 during the Stockholm Conference on the Human Environment. To mark this event, the first World Environment Day was celebrated a year later in 1973. Since then, it has been celebrated every year on the 5th of June. The theme of the World Environment Day 2024 is land restoration, desertification and drought resilience. And over the past 5 decades, the day has grown to be one of the largest global platforms for environmental outreach. Tens of millions of people participate online and through in-person activities, events and actions around the world to tackle climate change, one of the biggest challenges to human civilization. Akshay Dongre's report for DD India.
After multiple delays and postponements, Boeing's Starliner spacecraft was finally launched on its maiden human flight to space on Wednesday. Indian origin astronaut Sunita Williams flew on board the Starliner on a third mission alongside astronaut Butch Wilmore, who is the commander of the crew flight test mission of the spacecraft. Starliner capsule will reach the ISS after approximately 26 hours and dock with the orbiting research outpost around 250 miles above Earth. And now let's get you sports and the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup, where India are taking on Ireland in Group A, which is currently underway in New York. India blew away the Ireland batting lineup after winning the toss and putting them into bat first. Led by Hardik Pandya's 3-wicket haul, India restricted Ireland to 96 runs in the T20 World Cup. Jasprit Bumrah and Arshdeep Singh also took 2 wickets each. Arshdeep dismissed both Irish openers in the 3rd over, after which Hardik Pandya got a wicket in the 7th over. Bumrah then struck in the 9th. The free fall never really stopped as Pandya added 2 more wickets to his tally to stop Ireland for a paltry low total, which India is chasing. It needs now 75 runs in 17.3 overs to win. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news and updates as a break here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.